welcome everyone to Coach to You. I'm your host, Coach Regina, and I am back with another video. Today's video, we will be discussing mental health and purpose, discovering your deepest why. This video will actually touch on the subject of understanding what your deepest purpose or destiny is connected to in your life. It's deeper than just the aspect of the absence of mental illness or whether or not there is one occurring, but it's mostly about being able to discover what is important to you and being able to associate that with your values. So I want you to stay with me to the end of this video as I dive deeper into understanding your deepest purpose in this life. So before I get started, I want to go ahead and give my disclaimer that although I'm a student of psychology, I'm not a licensed healthcare professional. All information and content on my channel stems from my own personal experience and extensive research on the topic. If you feel like you have a mental health condition, be sure to consult a licensed healthcare professional. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. And again, I want you to stay with me to the end. Now, I really want to make sure that I mention right off the bat that I had a little bit of a sniffle. So if I sneeze or have to kind of, check myself during the video, just kind of disregard it because I have a little one that's 21 months and they kind of get the touchies around this age. And so I just kind of want to make sure that I give you guys a heads up in that regard as well, okay? Okay, so again, today's topic is mental health and purpose, discovering your deepest why. So basically, when we kind of get into the understanding of your purpose, it's basically wanting to know why you exist. Why are you here? And basically, without having an awareness of that, you don't have this defining measure of how your life pans out. It's deeper than just going to work, paying the bills, and then, enjoying yourself on the weekends. Your life's purpose is essentially here to find out what your journey was all about. The hardships, the difficulties, the challenges, the growth, the illnesses, whatever the case may, even your education, all of it is essentially tied to your purpose in life and why you chose to do the things that you have done from the start. And let's face it, many people may not have a true meaning in their life. They may not understand what their purpose is, so they may just be living day to day. So my intention in this video is really to kind of help individuals understand why we are here or why you are here. And so while I'm going through the video, I want you to take time and just kind of muddle through your mind uh, what things you enjoy, what things that bring you happiness, what things that, even let's talk about what things that make you tick because let's see, anything that angers you essentially controls you. So there's some connection there as well. So we'll get into that, okay? All right. So today we'll kind of touch on let's talk about mental health in general, okay? I want to emphasize that again, mental health is more than just the absence of mental illness, okay? Essentially, it's about your state of being. It's about the wellness of you as the individual and how you navigate life, your ability to cope with stresses, your productivity, as well as how you contribute to your community. Again, it's more than just about going to work, paying the bills, and living on the weekend. Essentially, you have a overall factor of life and how you fit into the world and the grand scheme of existence and reality, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about how finding your purpose will help you give meaning to your direction in life, okay? Understanding what's important to you, knowing your strengths, and how these strengths help you to make a positive impact. I want to help you to navigate. Let's say if you wake up one day and you're just like, you know what, it's just life is too much. This is very important because many people have kind of experienced that where they just woke up and said, today's just not the day, and they just feel like they're not either going to go to work or they're not going to go and interact with others, or they just sit and decide to. Everybody has these moments. But what if this moment is so insurmountable that it sucks the life out of you that day? Okay? This is why knowing your purpose is so important because when these moments come up, your why, your reason for existence draws you back in to understand, you know what, I'm just having a day to day and I'll get through this. You understand what I'm saying? But when you don't have that sense of interconnectedness, then you begin to kind of go down this rabbit hole of, you're not worthy, or you don't have a reason for living, and different things like that. And this is what has caused people to have suicidal thoughts. Disclaimer: if you ever feel like you have any form of suicidal tendencies, you need to consult someone immediately. Do not sit and allow those thoughts to spiral. Okay, that's very important. So, being able to maintain healthy thought patterns is helps you to easily identify and pursue your purpose, while having a strong sense of purpose can actually contribute to better mental health in general. For example, a lack of purpose can lead to feelings of emptiness or depression. Like I mentioned, you wake up one day and you just not feeling it. You feel like life is just too much and it's becoming too insurmountable, right? When this is a moment when you need to self-examine yourself, this is also a moment when having a clear purpose can provide motivation and resiliency. And that's what I was just talking about earlier. When there were times when I felt like I wanted to give up in life, when things were just too much, too insurmountable, where I feel like, I couldn't find a rhyme to reason. It was my kids that ultimately became the reason why I decided to check back in to reality when I checked out. Okay? So in that moment, my kids became my why. Does that make sense? So for you, your family could be your why. Ultimately, somebody else, their job could be their why. But your divine purpose, your sense of reason for existence, this is, again, like I mentioned earlier, this is how you fit into the grand scheme of existence. This is how you discover why you matter in general. Okay? And let's face it, every one of us have a major role that we play in providing to the collective. Okay? The benefits of living with purpose essentially are about making a positive impact or having a strong sense of resiliency in your world. It improves your mental health and your well-being. One aspect of it is, again, it reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. When you recognize that you have a why, a reason for existence, it allows you to be able to sit with yourself and find reasons to breathe. It helps you to understand reasons of lessening the anxiousness that you may feel on a day-to-day basis, as well as the depressive episodes. Your mental health is essentially tied to you being healthy and having an overall healthy lifestyle. The second one is increased resiliency. It gives you the ability to better cope with challenges and setbacks. This one here I cannot stress enough. Being able to have resiliency. I'll utilize this and tie it into something that my teacher told me years ago. She said to me, she said, Jane, I had a dream about you, and I was like, oh, okay, and I'm listening to her and talk and everything like that. And she said, when you told your testimony about the things that you had experienced in life, she said, I was just taken aback at how strong you are and how, you're still here at your age. And she said a word came to mind, and she used the word grit. Now, at this time, I'm not being able to put this together with my sense of resiliency, but essentially going down the rabbit hole after I communicated with her, I recognized that grit, that determination to succeed at all cost, essentially is what connected me to have an increased resiliency. No matter what I have been through in my life, I have developed this internal drive to keep going despite setbacks. You have to give it some form of, admiration, if you will, knowing that you have the ability to overcome things that would have ordinarily taken the average person out. This is basically how I have been able to, continue in life despite, you know, tribulations, losing my father, mental health setbacks, losing friendships, self sabotaging behaviors, and all of the sort. Okay. increased resiliency. Another one is enhanced motivation. Now, this one is also very important. Greater drive to pursue your goals and overcome obstacles. That's something that one can pride themselves on when they are faced with adversity and understanding their purpose in life. When you have a why, it brings you to this place of driving yourself despite all odds that are against you. And when I talk about odds, I'm talking about your genetic disposition. I'm talking about environmental setbacks. I'm talking about, people doubting you. You're doubting yourself because at times you can become your greatest ally or enemy. So being able to have your own sense of enhanced motivation or internal motivation is crucial for being able to understand why you drive yourself the way that you do in order to understand your sense of purpose and what keeps you going. Okay. Number four would be stronger relationships. A sense of purpose can make you a more engaged and supportive friend, partner, or family member. Being able to recognize where you fit into the grand scheme of life. As I mentioned earlier, when you recognize your why, you have a greater sense of your impact in the world. That means when life happens, you don't beat yourself up to such a degree that you recognize you don't fit anywhere. So when you discover your purpose, you recognize that you matter. And even though your friend or your loved ones or etc. may not see that, you do. So being able to have this internal resolve that I matter and I have an impact in the world is also crucial to understanding your sense of purpose. Now I want to do is I want to talk about purpose in general and living with purpose, okay? For me, I knew that there was something unique about me and my purpose a long time ago. When I was a young child, I had this tendency to want to talk a lot. So much so that it actually got me in trouble. I tell people all the time, make sure that you pay attention to the greatest thing that they try to bury in you when you're little, because that is where your greatest wealth is tied to. I'll repeat that. Be sure that you pay attention to whatever they tried to bury in you when you were little, because that is where your greatest wealth is tied to. For me, it was speaking too much. I had this tendency to just talk all the time to such a degree that it bothered people. People could, they just it really bothered them, and it actually bothered me, for a long time until I understood that my ability to communicate was actually tied to my sense of purpose. Okay. So I just spoke about earlier about the benefits with living with purpose. So improve mental well-being, increase resiliency, enhance motivation, and stronger relationships. Now I can tell you that the aspect of me having this awareness of my ability to speak has been tied to all of that. Okay. There's times where when I would get stressed out or anxious, I would talk to myself that I am lovely, I am worthy, I am successful, I am great, I am happiness, I am passionate, I am grateful. And I would say these things to myself to such a degree that it would become a soothing effect from my own internal state. Okay? The other one I mentioned was the increased resiliency, the ability to cope with challenges and setbacks. I would literally talk myself, I would just be like, Jenny, you got to get through this. You can do this. You can overcome anything. You're strong. You're resilient. You're this. And I would do that as my own sense of motivation. So you see how this kind of goes into that? Discovering your purpose is not something you discover once in life and it lies there. Discovering your purpose is something that will carry you throughout your day-to-day norms as well as the abnorms that you experience in life. Okay? Enhanced motivation. It gave me greater drive to pursue my goals and overcome obstacles. Recognizing that I had the ability to communicate and articulate allowed me to go to school, and I essentially received my degree in communications as well. I knew that because I had the ability to communicate myself efficiently or effectively, that I could finish my dreams and goals and complete my degree. Okay? And then the other one was stronger relationships. That ability to talk to myself and be my own source of motivation and encouragement allowed me to also do the same thing with my friends, to such a degree that they would just call me to talk and to chat and to get out of their hump and so forth. And so this is something that I recognize that was really a part of my purpose in life. I utilize this now as a means of inspire, inform, and impact other individuals. And that's a part of my business model. Okay? And it drives me, it keeps me going to know that no matter what I go through, I have a purpose. My ability to inform, inspire, and impact other individuals is essentially my purpose in life. And it gives me a drive that no matter what I go through, I'll get through this. No matter what adversity is thrown to me, I'll get through this. I'm here for a reason. My ability to research, to find information, to bring it to you guys as well is another part of my purpose. Because when I'm speaking and giving insight I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about as well. So that's also. So your purpose now bridges on one aspect and begins to add up to other little parts and components to make a comprising whole. Okay? So this has been so great. I usually only keep my videos about 15 to 20 minutes, but I want to get a little bit deeper into this. So I hope that you're staying with me to the end of this video so that you can find out what your purpose is and how discovering your deepest why helps you to have the greatest impact and your greatest resiliency in your mental health and awareness. Okay? All right, let's keep on. The next one is overall life satisfaction, a feeling of fulfillment and meaning. When you identify your values and your why, it gives you meaning in life. It gives you the ability to be able to know that no matter what I go through, I recognize that my value and my purpose is my meaning. And like I said, for some, right off the bat, it may be your children, it may be your education, it may be your family members, it may be your job. But as you evolve in life, essentially you're supposed to know what your life's purpose is and the impact you're supposed to live into society. Okay? So again, I want you to think about times when you felt the most alive. Okay? Fulfilled and engaged. I just told you for me, it was about when I was young, talking. I love to talk. It's something that made me feel good about myself when I was little. Half of the time I didn't even know what I was talking about, but I just love to talk. This is something that made me feel alive. I want you to take a moment just to think about that for yourself. Find that, type it in the comments, okay? As well as write it down for yourself. Because this is the moments where you feel creative, you felt connected, and you felt service, as well as you felt a desire to learn. I just told you, this is how I went to school and I finished my degree because I realized that this was something that deeply moved and motivated me to continue my dream and aspirations in life, okay? I want you to take a moment and think about some core values, okay? Your reason for being. It involves you being able to intersect what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Okay, I'll repeat that. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Okay? Everyone needs someone to encourage them from time to time. So my gift will always be beneficial. Okay? I just mentioned that I love speaking. I'm good at it, as well as the world needs encouragement. When you look at everything that's going on in the world in a day-to-day society, where people are constantly being bombarded with fear, terror, stressors, and anxiety, all of these different things, being able to click on YouTube, social media, and find some form of inspiration gives you that reason to continue to push. Okay? And that's what I want you to do. I want you to answer those 4 questions and being able to determine your purpose. Because here's what you need to understand. If you're not living purpose, if you have not found your purpose, you are not fulfilled inside. When you are truly living purpose, this is where your greatest sense of fulfillment comes in at. I don't get tired of communicating with people. I don't get tired of encouraging them and making people feel valued and understanding that they matter. I don't get tired of impacting people, okay? Even when times when I be like, you know what, not today. I'm gonna go in Walmart. I'm not going to communicate. I'm just going to go and do what I need to do. I always find some way, even if it's just me being my genuine, authentic self, to be able to encourage and inspire someone to some degree. And you also have the same ability to get your gift, your reason, your why, to be able to let yourself know that you matter. Okay? I want you to reflect on your passions and interests. What activities do you enjoy doing? Even if you weren't getting paid for them, what problems do you want to solve in the world? I don't care if it's, being able to tie bow ties. You know what I mean? You can be damn good at tying bow tie to such a degree that people just like, bro, every time I come to you, I feel like I can get my bow tie done. You know what I mean? That's something that you do, and you do it with ease. You do it with passion, okay? Um, for someone, it may be children, where they love being around children. It brings them so much joy, so much adoration to be around children. Another one could be putting people together. If you're someone that just loves gathering people and putting them together, that can be your purpose in life, where you do it effortlessly. You just have the ability to make the calls, get the itinerary, put the dates together and different things like that, and it just flows for you. That wouldn't be my thing, but it may be for someone else, right? Consider your strengths, okay? Examine your experiences. What challenges have you overcome, and what did you learn from them? How can you use those lessons to help others? I just mentioned to you, being able to communicate myself efficiently was something that, as a child, I wasn't really good at. And as I got older, I went to school and I learned how to be able to efficiently or articulate my concerns to people. Being able to voice those concerns, be able to determine whether or not I wanted this or I did not want that, essentially became of great impact as well. The lessons I learned was talking too much. Okay, there's a time and a place where I had to learn how to read social cues, where people just did not want to hear what I had to say. I had to learn how to develop a thick skin to be able to help other individuals to recognize that this is something that I enjoy doing, but I don't mean to be offensive to you as well. Okay, so being able to know that, you also have to be able to be a self-soother when it comes to that, because your your why cannot, it can't be tied into people. Like, how can I say, you can't validation, like you can't look for your external validation in people. They didn't want to hear it. Now I'm at this point now where I reckon if they don't want to hear it, it doesn't bother me. You can click in, you don't have to listen. Essentially, my reason for speaking and communicating not only impacts me, but it also impacts others. If it does it for one, then I've done my job. Okay, so you don't want to tie your why and purpose to needing external validation from other people. Know your purpose, fulfill it to such a degree that it brings you the greatest amount of satisfaction, as well as fulfills the ultimate purpose that you were called and destined to in life. Okay, an example of that is when I had to speak at a event, and they called on me to do it, and I had to just, I mean, it flowed. But it flowed to such a degree where there wasn't a dry eye in the house. People were literally in tears about my testimony that I had given. But the thing of it was, the testimony was for me. It was literally impactful for me, where I recognized that I walked across that stage and I overcame adversity against all odds. And that's another thing. Being able to recognize that it is about you. You are the one that essentially called to overcome, though you overcoming essentially impacts others. You see that how that caveat, it works hand in hand. But don't empty yourself trying to appease other people. That's not purpose. That is allowing people to take advantage of you. Okay. Um, Lastly, I want to say practical steps to align your purpose with your passion. Okay. So here are some concrete steps that you can do to be able to understand how you can align your purpose and discover your why. Okay. Set intentions each day. Wake up in the morning. Set intentions that align with your values. Remember, we talked about values, the things you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Okay? Wake up each day and just set the intentions. Today, I intend to communicate myself to the best degree. I intend to be present in my communication. I intend to give my greatest foot forward in my communicating. You're setting the intentions, and what happens is your subconscious mind takes that information over, and it kind of acts as a your reticular activating system, where it looks for what's important or salient to you, and allowing you to be able to navigate your day by making sure that you're focused on your intention, and you're not over consumed with distractions. Okay. Next one is take small actions. Okay, essentially being able to break down your purpose into smaller and manageable actions. Well, this involves being able to recognize that everything does not have to be piled up into one. Okay, recognizing that I can do this. I can do just a little bit, and I can still feel that I have given value for today. You don't want to work to such a degree that you become stressed out and overconsumed in your work projects. Okay, so that's very important. Small actions. The next one is seek opportunity. Look for ways that you can use your strengths and passions to make a difference in your community or the world. Like I mentioned, for me, going out into just the mundane, just shopping at a store. I use it. I literally communicate with people on a daily basis. For you, if you discovering your purpose is tied to children or being able to, impact people who struggle with emotions or whatever the case may be, this could involve volunteering, being there for children who are in need, giving your time to young youth, brothers and sisters programs, as well as starting projects or things that you can do in terms of your career. Okay. The last one is mindfulness and reflection. Take time to just be mindful of your day. Recognize opportunities where you could have had more productive thoughts, feelings, and actions. Remember, the topic was about mental health and purpose, discovering your deepest why. If you're spiraling out of control in your thought process as it relates to your purpose, then you're not contributing effectively to your mental health and your overall well-being. So making sure that you are checking in with yourself and examining your thoughts. Don't beat yourself up. If you find yourself going down a rabbit hole where your thoughts are not conducive to your overall state of being, draw yourself back in. Say to yourself, I see you. I see the resistance there. I notice the thoughts. Draw yourself back in and then give yourself something to pick yourself up. This has been very helpful for me in being able to navigate any negative thought patterns and get back on track. And you can do the same thing as well. Simply doing a reframing of, I'm really thankful that today my thoughts are getting better each and every moment. I am so thankful that I am living my desired reality one day at a time. And this gives your mind the ability to recognize that you're not trying to bite off more than you can chew, and it overall shuts down on you. Okay. All right. So uh, recognize your progress, make adjustments as needed, and then get back on track if you fall off. And this is very, very important. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and tie this up, because remember, I usually go only 15 minutes, so this will be about a 30-minute video. Okay. Lastly, surround yourself with purposeful people. It is very important that you connect with individuals who are passionate about their own why and can inspire and support you on your journey. People who are just living day to day that don't have a reason for existence, they live vicariously. In that, they don't have a reason, so they're basically living off of your emotional tank. So basically, when you have a good day, they have a good day. When you have a reason for existence, they have a reason for existence. And all of that, that is very, very draining on your own mental health. And so when you need an emotional pick-me-up, they're not available because they have been draining from your reservoir. This is something that I have recognized in my own life, and I'm becoming more aware of it. I am a genuinely optimistic and very happy and vibrant individual. I would be what's considered a high vibe person. But however, not everyone in my immediate circle is the same. So in that, I'm recognizing when individuals are sucking from my reservoir. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing per se. It is an awareness thing. Being able to be compassionate with individuals and motivate them to take their own necessary steps is crucial for being able to recognize the role you play in others' lives. Okay? So, be patient, be persistent, be diligent, and be determined. By finding and living your purpose, it is essentially an ongoing process. It doesn't happen overnight, but when you discover it, it brings you life. It brings you vitality. Be patient with yourself and don't give up if you encounter challenges. When you go through setbacks, it's a moment to give yourself an opportunity to recognize it, examine it, and then have a major comeback that can allow you to be able to continue your trajectory upward towards the life that you truly desire. There are potential obstacles that I want to mention before ending the video. Finding a purpose can be difficult, okay? Especially if you came from somewhere such as poverty, environments that were degraded environments, degrading environments, etc. Essentially, everybody is not on the path of what's called a growth mindset. So you're not able to readily talk to individuals about, hey, bro, what's your purpose in life? They're going to look at you like you're foolish. And I want you to understand that. So I mentioned about surrounding yourself with individuals. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to go to meetup.com, etc., to find individuals that can inspire you, learn, build relationships, and grow and build momentum to be able to help yourself get to the place that you want to be. The people in your life, they play a role. They have played a role, and you once enjoyed those relationships and those companions. However, as you grow and you evolve, you need to recognize that when you encounter failure, fear, self-doubt, and also societal expectations, these same relationships may not empower you in the way that meaningful relationships will. You have the ability to seek support, get a coach, a mentor, but more than anything, you have the ability to be compassionate and patient with yourself and reframe negative thoughts as a means of I am overcoming and I am exactly where I need to be, and life is working together for my highest good. This has been Coach Regina. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you watch this video to the end, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe and share the video. Thank you. Take care.